400 Thunder began with the kings of the sport, the Nitro Warriors of Top Fuel Racing. The quickest and fastest race cars on the planet, reaching speeds of over 500 kilometres per hour from a standing start. The opening round of the championship saw Aussie Darren Morgan take on the US invader Corey McLenithan. And what a race it is, a 468 for Corey McLenithan, takes home the trophy. Darren Morgan, a 467. He was actually quicker than Corey McLenithan, but Corey, with that experience, was quicker off the start line, beating to the finish line. And what a race, what a way to kick off the 400 Thunder series. Now, the championship moves to Perth for round 2. Will it be the fan favourite Darren Morgan, local hero Mark Sheehan, or will the might of the Rapisada team with Wayne Newby and Damien Harris shine through? The scene is set for an epic showdown in the Wild West. This is 400 Thunder. First round of qualifying, and we've got some nitro coming your way. Darren Morgan, the multi-time national champion, will be the first racer on track here in Perth, and he will be taking on the nitro madman himself, Mark Sheehan, in the only car in this country that's got a canopy on it. Very unusual as far as Top Fuel goes. Car sounding very strong as he warms the tyres. It's not just for show, the burnout, it's all about cleaning those big rear slicks off and laying down 2 nice thick licorice strips of rubber down to get yourself set for this 400-metre run. It is the 400 Thunder here in Perth, second round of the championship. Strong pass on both sides of the racetrack. Big problems though for Sheehan. Little bit of an explosion there. Clean run for Darren Morgan. Off the trailer, a 478 with a 487 kilometres per hour. I think Darren and the AEG Power Tools team will be very, very happy with that. As we have a look at the replay, you can see very clean transition with the tyres. Not a hint of tyre shake, about as clean as you will ever see with a Top Fuel car. Let's have a look at what happened to Mark Sheehan. Couple of sparks out the back, but then the head of flames just start changing colour. Big flash of green, that means it's burning up aluminium and copper inside that engine. Big flash out the front. I dare say he's pushed a head gasket out there. That'll mean a little bit of work for those guys to do. And let's go under the glass with Mark Sheehan. Best seat in the house to see Darren Morgan stretching off into the sunset. Good pass from him.
Well, quicker and faster than Corey last meeting, but the reaction time, they caught me out. So the car was running good. They just need the old guy driving it to get his act together a little bit. But yeah, the car's magnificent. The boys are doing an excellent job. Like picture perfect first pass off the trailer. The retard cut in, so it had a few degrees pulled out of it, so it could have gone a lot quicker. But the engine's in, all the parts are good, so we'll load it up and see what it does next time.
We're probably just a little bit aggressive on that one. Just out of about 400 foot, we were a little bit aggressive. So we're just going to calm the car down a touch and just get down the other end of the racetrack.
So you've heard from our first 2 competitors, Darren Morgan and Mark Sheehan. Interesting that Morgan very, very happy with the way the car's performing. Not so happy with the way the driver's performing. The good news for him is he's got a chance to redeem himself here in Perth. But if you want to talk about top quality, top fuel teams, you cannot go past the Rapisada Autosport International team. 2 cars here this weekend for these guys. Wayne Newby on screen right now. He will be on the far side of the racetrack once we're looking at it in real time. Super slow-mo burnout, that's what we like to see. The reason that I point out which driver is who is because we've got exactly the same paint scheme on both of these cars. Very, very professional effort for this team. Damien Harris, reigning national champion in Top Fuel, extremely competitive driver and a guy with a lot of experience behind him. Going up against, well, his more inexperienced teammate in this first round of qualifying, but I say inexperienced in reference to Top Fuel. Wayne Newby has done a lot of racing in Top Alcohol. He's a former national champion in that class. He's only done 1 season in Top Fuel, but I tell you what, he made it a good one. Very, very competitive last season. Very clean on both sides of the racetrack. Both candles go out a little bit early. A 489 for Wayne Newby and Damien Harris a 491. I would have expected it to be a little bit quicker than that, but they did button off a little bit early before the finish line. So I dare say there's a fair bit left in both of those race cars, but it was very clean. Have a look at the super slow-mo, the deformation in those tyres as those big Goodyear slicks try and hook up to the racetrack. By the look of it, Damien Harris was out in front a little bit earlier. The car moved around on him just ever so slightly, and in unison, the candles go out on both sides of the racetrack, but still both cars in the 4-second zone. On board with Damien Harris, in a more violent environment, I could not think of. A Top Fuel dragster is a brutal thing.
Yeah, that gives us a bit of a baseline for that run. We were a little bit lean through the centre of the track, which we melted a couple of pistons and blew the burst panel, but we'll be good for the next run.
It's so cool, mate. There's a bit going on here to get you right for the next pass, but it's all in hand.
Yeah, it's all in hand. The crew's in there doing their job, and they all work hard, and it's a whole team effort here. I'm just the lucky one that gets to drive it, so without these guys, it doesn't happen. Yeah, that's what I see as a driver, and you appreciate is how hard your crew works. To see that car come back and within an hour the motor stripped to a bare crankshaft in the block and then reassembled, then motors fired up and running again. Spectator point of view is awesome for the spectators to see as well, so it's very hard in other sports to see that up close where he can come up right alongside the car and get to see what the crew's really doing. To get to drive one of these things for a living is awesome, so yeah, it's a ball. Oh yeah, it is the icing on the cake. You can't watch it on telly because it doesn't describe anything what it's like. You have to be here and see it in real life.
As we ready ourselves for the second round of qualifying, Mark Sheehan under the canopy, a very unusual sight in Australian drag racing. We've only got one of them in the country. That car's still essentially a brand new combination for Mark Sheehan. He will be taking on Darren Morgan, the 4-time national champion, yet again in this qualifying run. Brand new set of slicks on board as well for Mark Sheehan. You can still see the stickers on the tyre. As we have a look at the super slow-mo, there is nothing cooler than a Top Fuel dragster slowed down in super slow-mo. You catch so many things that you miss when you're watching them in real time. Everything just happens so quickly as Ben Patterson, crew chief for Darren Morgan, leans in, gives him the thumbs up and says, yep, we're set to go. A lot of fuel going through these cars on this cool night here in Perth. They're making plenty of horsepower. I'd be expecting to see an improvement from both races here. Oh, another big explosion for Mark Sheehan. That is not good for that team. But Darren Morgan, very nice for him. A 474 with an 8. Incremental improvements. That's what it's all about this weekend for Darren Morgan. He improves yet again. He will remain the #1 qualifier, but we've still got a couple of guys who's looking to take that off him. But a 478 is certainly a good baseline, and first time over 500 kilometres an hour this weekend for Darren Morgan and the AEG Power Tools team as he comes to a stop right down there in the braking area. And well, Mark Sheehan just cruises on past. He's still on fire. That's why he's moving around there. He's trying to get closer to the fire crew down there. I bet you it's getting pretty hot under that seat, and he will just want to get out of that thing as soon as possible. The Perth Motorplex safety crew doing a great job right on the scene there, and that's an oil fire. That's not a fuel fire. That means that there's something coming out of the bottom of that engine, and you can see right there, I dare say, a rod has probably exited the block, windowed that and dumped a whole lot of oil, and once you light that fire, it's very difficult to put out. As we have a look back to Morgan, clean candles, clean head of flames all the way to the finish line. Extremely nice run there for Darren Morgan, and that's a big, big fireball. That's going to be a lot of work for the Mark Sheehan team. Oh, inside the canopy as well. Smoke, fire, not good for him. We say goodbye to the crew, and we say hello to the parachutes right about here. This is where the fun bit starts, getting them stopped.
No, there's room for improvement. The fuel system didn't work the way it should be, so we'll tweak that up. Get that sorted out. We had a few little niggly problems the first pass. So yeah, we're getting on top of it. There's always little dramas with these cars, but it's getting better and better, and it'll go faster and faster. It's mint. The guys are doing really, really well and turned it around. We're the first ones in the staging lanes, and AEG made a power, rock on.
So the Rapisada boys getting set for another qualifying pass here in Perth. And Damien Harris taking on Wayne Newby. They've switched lanes this time. Damien Harris is on the far side of the racetrack. And have a look at the tyre. Look how much it grows as they go through the burnout here. You could actually see all the way through the axle just then. Now, Wayne Newby's waving his hands around in here. There's something wrong with this car because Wayne Newby is a very cool, calm and collected guy, and he doesn't get animated like that. That's Santino Rapisada looking inside the race car there, trying to, it looks like, get the reverse lever in place. That would be my guess. No, this is not good. I think they're giving him the shut-off signal there, and that is certainly the case. That's a shame for Wayne Newby, but for Damien Harris, he can concentrate on his own run here. Doesn't need to worry about anything in the other lane. Oh, very, very violent tyre shake on board with Damien Harris, and he shuts the car off, even gives it a little bit of a stab there. I don't know if that was intentional or not for Damien Harris. You can do a lot of damage to these cars by pedaling them like that, but that's the way it shakes out, and that is the second round of qualifying done for Top Fuel. Don't go anywhere. We've got all the action coming up after the break here from the Perth Motorplex.
Well, the old car was good. We just felt we were just pushing the boundaries with it, and safety was starting to become an issue. We were going past and what the car was really built for. So we decided to make the investment in a new car, you know, safer, new chassis, new framework. The car's at the moment probably got maybe 20 laps on it now. The car's going to be very fast, we know that. We're just sorting out little gremlins and getting everything right, and then we're ready to start stirring up the other guys.
So the Nitro Madman himself, strapped into that canopy car, ready to make his qualifying pass as we go on board with sunglasses, Cam. If you've ever wondered what it's like to drive a Top Fuel car, you're about to find out. On board with Mark Sheehan, that's going to be incredible. And we've got Darren Morgan over in the other lane in the AEG Power Tools car, which has been running like a bracket car all weekend long. But that canopy car, that is something special because there's only a handful of them running anywhere in the world. And what it does, it actually seals the car. The idea being, in the case of a fire or any objects that might travel into the cockpit and hit the head of the driver or the body of the driver, it's designed to stop those things coming into the cockpit. It's very good for that, but at the same time, it does make a lot of drivers feel a little bit claustrophobic inside that car. A lot of them have said, if we wanted to drive a funny car or we wanted to feel like we're driving a funny car, we'd jump in a funny car. But Mark Sheehan, he likes it. He's under the glass in that car, and we're going to see exactly what it's like to drive a Top Fuel car. Darren Morgan, the AEG Power Tools car, that car's been running in the 470s all weekend long. I think it'd be looking to improve a little bit here. Again, it was a clean run for Morgan, but only a 5.11. It looked like it might have gone away a little bit at the top end of the racetrack, and Sheehan only a 5.48 for him. That's probably not what he would have expected. It is still his best run of the weekend so far, so it will bump him up the qualifying list ever so slightly. And right about there, you can see a little bit of tyre shake for Mark Sheehan, goes straight up into tyre smoke. He expertly pedals that. That means it gets off the throttle, back on it, and have a look at the chassis flex in that car. They're designed to flex, but not like that. That is incredible for Mark Sheehan. Now, this is going to be the telling thing for Darren Morgan. Kick the blower belt off right there. That was the problem for him. But Mark Sheehan, I cannot wait to see this sunglasses cam inside the helmet. You can see he's hanging on, gives it a little bit of a pedal, and there's the chassis flex. Up and down, it's like a kangaroo on a trampoline. Mark Sheehan, I take my hat off to you.
We're still not getting down the whole track, you know. We know we're the fastest in the short half of the track, but, you know, we're smoking the tyres and killing parts and not getting to the other end of the track, so we're not having much joy at the moment.
No, AEG made a power. Made too much power. We smoked the tyres late and took the belt off it. But anyway, it's Q3 and we had to test the track and see what happened. So it was cool. At least we know what the track's doing and we'll go out there again and try it out. Oh, it's probably been my motivation for a long time. People say you can't do something, well, now you have to, don't you? That's been there for ever since I was a kid. So it's not a new thing, it's just what we do. We like holding the bar in the sport, I suppose, so you get to hang on to it for another year and get people with all the money chasing us. So I think I said it once before, somebody said that would never be successful coming from a regional town, so we're trying to prove them wrong still. it's pretty tough work to have them away from their families. And you know, a lot of young guys start with us and they end up with families, so they get pulled away. Young Rodney's not going to be with us in June because he's having his second baby, which is really cool, you know, so you're really happy for him. But of course you want them with you because they're like part of the family. Yeah, and we need to do better. We need to do better. If you have a look at the other trailer, we've got some Amarok sitting on radios and people out there trying out the tools and showing them off. So it's about doing things differently and stronger and better.
There is a definite pride that runs through Darren Morgan, coming from Mildura, a country town in Victoria, and I tell you what, he's punched above his weight for a long, long time. Great to see that he's got some sponsors back on board this season, and he is back with a vengeance. And another team that is back with a vengeance for the 2016 season is the Rapisada team. 2 cars on track here, yet again, pairing up in qualifying. This is the way they like to do it. All eyes on Rapisada. Wayne Newby, left lane. He will be taking on Damien Harris in the car tuned by Santo Jr., Santo Rapisada Jr. that is. He gets the wave in from his crew chief, and both cars have probably underperformed a little bit up to this point, both only running in the 480s, 490 second zone in the first round of qualifying. What can they come up with here? And that's a market improvement on both sides of the racetrack. How's that for a side-by-side race? A 477 with an 8 for Wayne Newby and a 477 with a 2 for Damien Harris. That is an incredible side-by-side race. 495 kilometres an hour for Newby, 492 for Damien Harris. These guys will weld it together the whole way down the racetrack. Looked like Wayne Newby might have just been dropping a cylinder on the other side of the car, and that means there's too much fuel going into the engine, not enough spark, not enough air, and it actually extinguishes the spark inside that engine. It looked like Damien Harris had a similar problem there, but both those guys go to number 2 and 3 in the qualifying list.
Oh, it was pretty close. We just got bumped from second spot to first spot in qualifying, but it was a good close race, and look forward to going through to the first round elimination.
So your top fuel matchups will be this in the first round. Darren Morgan and Mark Sheehan, and the 2 Rapisada cars to do battle yet again here in Perth.
Any fuel team, you rely regularly on 12 guys, and it's a massive investment, everyone's time and obviously money and infrastructure and trying to get everything ready for race day, and it's a big commitment.
Well, it's not quite as simple as just putting fuel in these cars and putting tyres on them and sending them back out on the racetrack. It's a lot of work to do on these cars between rounds. They'll take the supercharger off the top of the engine. They'll check the valves. They'll take the heads off. Sometimes they'll even take the block out of the frame rails. If they don't do that, they'll replace pistons. They'll replace rods. They'll check the clutch, resurface all the plates, change the weights, change the tune-up in these cars, and that's if nothing goes wrong. If something goes wrong, they've got even more work to do, and all on a volunteer basis. Fantastic effort from all those guys, and I absolutely tip my hat to each and every one of the volunteers that make drag racing tick. So our first matchup of the semi-finals here in Perth is Mark Sheehan and Darren Morgan. Now, on paper, if you look at their performances through qualifying, Darren Morgan has got this one run and done. Mark Sheehan, though, has had very, very quick short times. And when I say short times, I'm talking about the incremental times down the racetrack. We've got timers at the 60-foot marker, 330 feet down the racetrack, at half-track as well. And all those little incremental times have been very, very encouraging for Mark Sheehan. If he gets this thing stuck to the racetrack, he's going to be very quick. But Darren Morgan has been the picture of consistency. All weekend long, he's been getting this car down the racetrack. Doesn't matter about the conditions. And he's got to be riding a wave of confidence heading into this first round of racing. Very, very good matchup here. First round, championship points on the line. Big hole shot to Mark Sheehan, and Sheehan wins it by about 2 car lengths. Mark Sheehan, a 4:59. That is the quickest run that we've seen so far this weekend, and that is an incredible pass from the Nitro Madman team. Even Benny Patterson, Darren Morgan's crew chief, he has got a big smile on his face because he knows how hard it is to make these cars run well. Darren Morgan, it was a clean run. There was nothing wrong with it. A 4:74, great run under any conditions, but the Nitro Madman car and Mark Sheehan has just stretched it out into the distance. That's an incredible pass for him. 4:59, and I've missed the speed. Look at the speed. 526 kilometres per hour for Mark Sheehan. Incredible.
It was actually our slowest incrementals all weekend. We've actually been trying to slow the car down all weekend, and obviously we've just got it worked out, and we've slowed it down, and we got from A to B and ran a 50, so that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, he done well. They always say I'd rather be lucky than good. We were good, they were lucky. So they took us out, and we were on the trail around a 470 something or other, and it's time to go home. But we've got some good data, and we're back here in 2 weeks, and we'll see how we go then.
Darren Morgan looking at the positives, which I guess you have to do when you lose in the first round or the semi-finals here with a 4:74. There's nothing to hang your head about, and the AEG Power Tools team will be back here in a couple of weeks' time. But our next matchup, this is a big one, Wayne Newby and Damien Harris. The good news for the Rapasada team is there will be one of their team cars in the final round. The bad news is one of their guys is going to lose here in the semi-finals. Will it be Wayne Newby or Damien Harris? I guess you look at the qualifying performances, very, very close on paper. Both guys ran 4:77. It was only thousandths of a second that separated these two cars, which means the reaction time is going to be imperative here for these guys. Damien Harris, a lot of experience in these cars, reigning national champion. You can see the big number 1 on the side of this car. He is a gun behind the wheel of a Top Fuel Drags, but Wayne Newby is not a driver that you take lightly. Very, very good on the tree, very, very good at pedaling the car as well. In his short career in Top Fuel, he has certainly turned some heads. It is going to be on for young and old. Huge reaction time advantage for Harris, but Wayne Newby gets it at the other end, a 4:71 at 478 kilometres per hour. That's a bit of a surprise for mine. Noobs was late on the tree, but that's why Damien Harris actually red lit. I thought that Noobs was late. He wasn't. It was just that Damien Harris was very, very early. 0.116 red light. Not what you want to do against your teammate. You can see the big red light on the Christmas tree there. Damien Harris knew that he red lit. He's probably already kicking himself all the way back to Sydney inside that car. And Wayne Newby on his way to the final round here in Perth, where he will take on Mark Sheehan. You really get a sensation of the speed with the camera down on the wall, but this is the best seat in the house for Damien Harris to watch his teammate move into the final round.
Yeah, no, we've been stepping up each run, and we got faster and faster on each run, so we're going through the final, and real happy for my team. We've worked hard to get here, and just like to thank everybody that's helped out, especially Sano. He's not here, but wish he was here.
Absolutely. Team Patriarch Santo Rapasada, the man who is really the driving force behind this team. He is not here this weekend, and the team would love to bring a trophy back home to him. But there's one little problem standing in his way, and that problem is in the form of Mark Sheehan, the man who ran low ET and top speed of the weekend so far in the first round of racing. 4:59, 526 kilometres per hour. We know that this team and this car can do it. They've run very, very quick times in the past, but can they do it here against a guy who's already done it tonight? We've got the camera under the glass. This is going to be a great side-by-side pass, and if it's not, expect both drivers to really be pedaling it to get it to the finish line before the other driver. The visor goes down. We're set for a start here in Perth. Oh, another engine explosion for Mark Sheehan, pushing out a head gasket again, I think, but it doesn't matter. The crew walk away. There's high fives, probably a little bit subdued because of the engine damage, but still, a win is a win is a win, and Mark Sheehan takes home the trophy here from the 400 Thunder event in Perth. Let's have a look at the replay. It was pretty clean candles, pretty clean head of flames for Mark Sheehan for the first half of the racetrack. It looked like pretty decent tyre shake, and then straight up in tyre smoke for Wayne Newby. Pedalled it a couple of times, tried to get it to the finish line, but he saw Mark Sheehan was way out in front. and right there, the green flames, that means it's burning up copper and aluminium. He pedalled it once, it lifted the supercharger off the top of the engine, but still, he gets the win. And Mark Sheehan, the local boy, gets to take the trophy and spray the champagne in front of his hometown crowd here in Perth. What an effort from that team this weekend.
Yeah, pretty impressed. You know, bring one home for the team and for the guys on the home soil. You know, keep all the fans that happy home. Really happy.
Mark, just for someone who's just met you, is this as excited as you get for a massive win?
Yeah, it is. It is. Let me get a few drinks into myself, and then I'll be right. I'll be cranked up.
Well, your championship points chase is certainly tightening up at the top. Darren Morgan leading the way on 158, but Newby and Harris right behind him. Sheehan up there as well, and Corey McLenathan, courtesy of that win at the East Coast Nationals, back there in 5th. Coming up on next week's show, we've got all the action from Pro Alcohol here at the West Coast Nitro event. Congratulations to Mark Sheehan and Wayne Newby. Almost taking out our cameraman with the cork out of the champagne bottle there. But nonetheless, smiles all round, and why wouldn't they be smiling? A fantastic victory for the local WA racer.